So welcome to the second session of this internship on June 4, 2025. Yesterday we learned about Linux, command line interface. We learned about command line tools for Linux interface, which can be used in Linux, which can be used in WSL system if you are using Windows, as well as you can also use it on the Mac, because the idea is same. They are all based on the shell script. So today we are gonna continue. So we have now basics covered. We know how to use the terminals. You guys are doing pretty well. Now you are starting to become computational physicists, right? When you interact with terminal, you have this feeling, okay, I'm doing something crazy. So now we will move towards more advanced course. So today I will be talking about Python. I will give you a short introduction of Python, and we will be discussing about various features of Python. Okay, so let us start with that. Let me open the drive where I have the file. Okay, I also have it here. Okay, Python, and then I have Python doc marked down here, and I put it here. Okay, so I hope you guys can see my screen, right? You guys can see my screen. No, I have not started sharing it. Please do mention, guys. Okay, so now I think you guys can see my screen. Awesome. Okay, so this is the document I shared yesterday. So it is about basic of programming in Python. So before discussing Python in particular, let's talk about a little bit about why we should learn programming. So programming language sounds like something computational, something computer science students or computer science enthusiasts are interested in. Why do we do that? As a physicist, why do we need programming? See, if you are a theoretical physicist, if you are a computational physicist, if you are any sort of physicist, nowadays you need programming. You need to learn programming, because computers are the advanced machine which can solve the problem which human cannot do. Beforehand, programming was only used in experimental physics, like to analyze data, analyze all the patterns. But recently, in few years, like 20-30 years, programming has been theoretician has been started using programming extensively. The reason for that is, okay, let me give you the example of particle physics. When we talk about particle physics, we have to deal with a large set of equations, right? So it is a very complex system. So in that kind of a complex system where like so many interactions are involved, we need to simulate that environment. We need to derive some equation out of it, right? So for that, to make that analysis, we cannot do it by our own. So we need some machine. If we do all the calculation by ourselves, it will be very tedious for us. It will take weeks. So I don't know whether you have whether you are aware of this book, Principia of Mathematica by Isaac Newton. So you can see this is a whole big book where he described about the calculus. So again, if you have seen the Peter Higgs notebook about spontaneous symmetry breaking, he has like done all those calculations, and there are number of pages, number of notes. But nowadays, with the help of modern programming languages, we can do that derivations on computer. Actually, using Mathematica, using SymPy in MATLAB, or in SymPy in Python, or symbolic calculations in MATLAB, we can perform those calculations. We don't need it to do by hand. We can do it on computer. So beforehand, scientists used to use computer to calculate, they don't do derivation from it. They used it for numerical calculation. But today, the modern programming languages, they have the SymPy, they have the tendency, they have the quality to calculate the symbolic calculations, right? So it is very important if we talk about in terms of theoretical point of view. So in my research I use it for derivation as well as numerical calculation. Mostly I use it for numerical calculation. Okay, so why should we learn programming? As I told you, it is not just about writing a code. It is about solving problems. It is about automating tasks. It is about bringing ideas to life. So whether you are simulating a neutron star, or you are analyzing experimental data, or creating a simple calculator, programming is your most powerful tool. So I don't know, like you guys are diverse. Some of you have interest in neutron stars, some of you might have interest in experimental data, but whatever you are going to learn here, you can apply it anywhere you want. You can apply it to data science, you can apply it to theoretical physics, computational physics, experimental physics, or even in research market, doing analysis of Amazon and all those things, which is part of a data science, right? And you can also build some application for fun. You can build some interface for fun. You can show off your programming skill to other people. So programming is a very powerful tool in the modern world, so everyone should know a little bit about it. Okay, in scientific research, programming helps. It helps in model physical system. Obviously, for example, if we have one ball, two ball, we want to learn the pattern of it. How can we learn? So we will do some physical experiments, right? But it is not always possible to perform physical experiment. It is very costly, it is very time consuming. What we can do otherwise is, if we can somehow simulate a physical system inside our computer, and we can make use of that to learn the real physics, whatever is happening in outside world. This is the idea behind it. So you must have done some programming in your computer science course and masters in physics or BS in physics, where you actually simulated some codes. For example, you calculated the range of a projectile, you calculated the time of flight and all those things. So basically you were calculating the real world problems through that. Okay. And what else? Analyze large data set. So modern world is all about data. Data is the new money. So whosoever has access to large data, they will rule the world. So this is not hidden anymore. It is very obvious to the world. And how to play with that large data set? When I am talking about large data set, I am talking about a data file with a million rows, right? How to process such data? So this is what where programming helps. And then we have automate repetitive tasks. So we are lazy people, human is lazy, right? So we wanted to do something creative. We don't want to do which is already done. I don't want to honestly repeat the things which are already done. So we need some machine to do that. Okay, so we are becoming dependent on artificial intelligence day by day, because we wanted to do some creative work. For automated work, we want something else, right? And then we need to build reproducible workflow. What is reproducible workflow? Again, I will give an example to you. Like, if I am doing some sort of experiment physically, not in the machine, then I have to do that setup again and again. It is very difficult to get all the items together, put them together. We need space for that, everything. There is a large requirement. But when we talk about a machine, you can build an environment which you can use many times. You can change some parameters and that's it. You can execute the workflow. Okay, so this is the basic idea of programming, and there are many programming languages. You can use that as per your need. So I will talk about Python here. Initially, I was interested in telling you about C++ and Fortran. Then I realized it will be too much for this internship. So why don't we stick with one language and we learn from that? And if we learn this language, Python, which is the simplest language, what I believe, and if we know about Python, then I think you can also learn C++ and Fortran. Fortran is comparatively easier than C++. C++ is a bit tedious, but Python is simplest among all of this. So there are other programming languages like RStudio and all those stuff. I am not going to cover that. That is beyond our scope. But in scientific calculation, we mostly use Fortran. Fortran is the first choice for scientific computation because it is very fast. Then we have C++, and then we have Python. You can also use MATLAB, which is based on C++. MATLAB is a interface, a very good interface. And then we have Mathematica. So Mathematica is also based on C++, I guess. I am not sure, but these are the tools. These are not actual programming languages like MATLAB or Mathematica. They are not exactly programming languages, but they are some software that we can use to compute or do some numerical calculations. Okay. So why do we use Python? Why should we use Python? So far so good. Can you show me your presence, guys, by some likes so that I feel connected? Okay, thank you. Okay, so Python is a modern high level programming language. Okay, it is modern. Modern means it's recently developed in like 10 to, I think it was developed 20 years back, and it has been improved a lot. So it is a modern language because it has all the modern libraries that we can use to solve modern problems. And then we have why it is known for. It is known for its simple syntax. I will tell you what do I mean by simple syntax. And readability. If it has a simple syntax, you can easily read that. And then the third thing is flexibility. It is flexible, right? You can go back and forth in that. And the last one is it has vast scientific libraries which no other language provides you. So what do I mean by libraries? We can talk about that later on. So it is used in scientific research, for example, astrology. Why did I say astrology? Okay, astronomy, astrophysics, biology, chemistry. And then we have machine learning and AI. Obviously, I don't know whether you are familiar with scikit-learn and all those libraries which are developed in Python and which are very useful to do data analysis, which are basically based on machine learning code based on Python. And also these are used in Python is also used in AI calculations, and then Python is also used in web development, and last but not the least, automation. And yes, we have also data science. So in the modern world, as I told you, data is the new money, and Python can, if we have pandas, we have pandas library in Python, and it can do wonders with data. It can access the large data set, it can manipulate the large data set. It has a great capability. Okay, so what is the difference between Python, C++ and Fortran? So first of all, let's start with the feature. What is the feature I am talking about for comparison? It is syntax. In Python, the syntax is simple, it is very readable. In C++, it is strict, it follows a rule. So you need to put some computational mind to it to understand it. And then Fortran is old school, it is from 1970s or 80s, not 70s. And then we have math friendly. It is math friendly, that's why it is used in most scientific computation. So if you came across some old physics code, it is always written in legacy Fortran, because at that time all the people worked in Fortran, because it is user friendly with scientific calculations. Then we have compilation. So Python can be run directly in the shell. As you know, you executed the print command, I hope. So it can be executed, interpreted directly in the shell, like Python shell, you can say Anaconda shell. And C++, it need to be compiled first, then you have to execute. It makes, when you compile, then it creates an object file and executable file, then you basically execute it. And Fortran does the same way. You create the object file and then executable file, and then you talk to your computer, then the computer execute it. Speed. Python is slower as compared to C++ and Fortran. This is a drawback, but with the modern libraries like NumPy, SymPy, as well as Panda, it can be improved and Python can be optimized. C++ is very fast and Fortran is very fast for numerics. That's why it is preferred for scientific computations. So what about the learning curve? How easily you can learn that particular programming languages? If we talk about Python, it is easy to learn. Okay, I will show you how. C++ is steep, you have to put a lot of effort, you have to put a lot of effort to learn. And then we have Fortran, which is moderate to learn. The syntax are comparatively easier than C++. What about the use in science? Python is widely adopted in modern day world. C++, I have seen many codes in C++ and they are still used in simulations. And then we have Fortran. Fortran is basically used in legacy codes like very old codes, 80s, 90s, and high performing computations. Then we have libraries. If we talk about the availability of library in these languages, let us start with Python. So the libraries are huge in Python. So in the modern world, the compatible libraries, if I talk about, is NumPy, Pandas, and so many others. And C++ has a moderate availability of libraries, and Fortran is also limited. What else? OOPS support, object oriented programming support. Okay, so object oriented programming language are the languages which can be arranged in a very beautiful manner so that you can use it again and again. We can talk about that in some dedicated session, like what is OOPS concept. So we can divide our code in various sections that increases that basically optimize it, and it makes it faster. So Python is fully OOPS. It has classes, it has inheritance. C++ is obviously it is based on OOPS. That's why it was moved from C to C++. And then we have Fortran. Fortran has limited OOPS concept. It doesn't have that classes concept, inheritance concept, operator overloading, all those concepts. So that is a drawback of Fortran, but they have it has subroutines. So subroutines more or less does the same work as, not exactly as class, but maybe as function. Okay, so Python is not meant to replace C++ or Fortran, but it is to make research faster, flexible, and more accessible, right? So now we will talk particularly about Python. So what are the data types, built-in data types in Python? So what are the data types? So whenever you are doing some numerical calculation, obviously you are using numbers, right? You are using 1, 2, 3, 4, whatever, and you are just not using real numbers, you are using all kind of number. A number can be an integer, it can be a float, it can be a negative, it can be imaginary. And whenever you are doing some calculations, you can also, it is not about numeric calculations, you can also play with strings. You can create your program to print something, right? Then you need, what kind of data type you need string. So we have data types like integer, float are the decimal number, strings are the letters, characters, you call in simple language called text. And then we have boolean, whether we talk about 1 or 0, true or false, the data type we are interested in is boolean. And then we have list. List is like an array. Okay, it is a one dimensional array, it is a ordered collection. Okay, so you might have used arrays in Fortran or C++, so it is the same. And then we have tuple. It is kind of a list, but not, we don't call it list. It is an immutable order collection. I will tell you about that later on. And then we have dictionary data type, which basically assigns key value to some key, right? It is very important. So when we talk about JSON file, it is based upon dictionary. So you can basically associate a key to some key value, which can be used in your program later on. Okay, so I have the Jupyter notebook where I will go through all these data types one by one. And before that, I just wanted to give you some comparison between C++, Fortran and Python. I will give you some simple code like to sum two numbers. First of all, how to print a message in Python, which is very simple. You can just write print. You can do it in your shell. Print bracket, and whatever you want to display on your shell, on your output window, you just put it in the quotes. Okay, and then what I want to do, I want to create a program, I want to create a computer program which basically sums two numbers. So one number is, let us say, I assign it as A and another I assign it as B. Okay. So in C++, what do we have to do? We have to start with some basic steps, some basic rule. We have to enable the input output stream, and then we have to standardize it. Like I am using some standard rule. I will not talk about using namespace std. What does that mean? But I am telling my C++ code compiler that I am using some standard instructions. And then I started my main program, my main section of the program, and then brackets are open and closed, and then I defined A as an integer, and I declared A as 5 and I declared B as 3, which is basically I assigned a data type to A and B, and then I also assigned a data type to sum, and basically I executed a arithmetic operation, which is sum. So I just sum two numbers A plus B, and what is how do I print it? So in C++ you can print it using cout. So this is the syntax. How do you print it? Cout, whatever you want to display is this within the quotes, and again then sum is whatever you wanted to display here, the total sum of these two numbers, and then if you want to put extra line after your print statement, cout statement, then you use end line. And the semicolons are very important in C++. Semicolons tells the program that okay, this line is over, let's jump to the next line. It tells the compiler. And then there is a return statement which tells the program whether it has been executed correctly or not. Okay, the same program is written in Fortran. So what we do in Fortran, again we start with the name of the program, we declare the data type of whatever quantities we are using, going to use, A, B or sum. So we declared A, B and sum as integer, and we assign values to A, we assign value to B, and then we created a mathematical operation. So after writing this mathematical operation, we put print statement. Again it is similar to cout, print star comma, and then whatever you wanted to display you put it in the quotes, and then comma, whatever you wanted to display as a numerical value you put it like here. So it will display the sum is 5 plus 3 8 here. Okay, and then you end your program here. So this is the same program in two different programming languages. But when we talk about Python, Python is readable. As I told you, its syntax is simple. Okay, yeah, so the learning curve is easy. So why the learning curve is easy? Because we don't have to do some default options here. We don't have to take care about the data types. It automatically manages itself that what kind of data type I am trying to play with. For example, this is a program. This has been divided into two pages. Okay, so there is only print statement remaining. So what do you do? This is a comment, it doesn't count. Okay, so what do? You don't have to define the data types. You just directly put A is equal to 5, B is equal to 3, and then you put sum is equal to A plus B. That's it. In Python you don't need to define the data type, whether it is an integer, float or blah blah blah. So you don't have to think about that. You don't have to take care about that. Python can take care about that by itself. And then you simply put the print statement. You just put whatever you wanted to display in the commas, in the inverted commas, then comma, whatever you wanted to display the numerical values, which is sum. Okay, so this is the program. You can compare the Python program with these two programs. There are some extra, computational things. For example, this sounds computational. So whatever I am doing here, I am only interested in that. I just wanted to add these two numbers, but I have to write this, I have to write this, I have to write this. In Fortran I also have to write so many things, but in Python I don't have to take care about all those things. So that's why Python is efficient in some sort of manner, that you don't have to write which is obvious. Okay, so this was the short introduction to Python. I hope you had some idea about how things goes. Okay, So can we move further to the Jupyter notebook? Do you have any question regarding whatever I just presented? Okay, guys, do thumbs up, guys. If okay, let okay, thank you. Thank you. Now we can go to our programming session, right? I will give you some ideas. So some of you might already be familiar with Python. You might be thinking, oh, this is so trivial, why I am talking about all those things. See, I know some of you guys are advanced, you already knew all the stuff, okay, but there are some participants with us who wants to learn, from the basics, from the beginning. So eventually when we will be talking about more advanced stuff, then you might be able to relate it very well. Okay, so I don't need that. Okay, this is the Jupyter notebook I am talking about. See, the the extension of Jupyter notebook is IPYNB. Okay, PY is Python, NB is notebook. So whenever there is a PYNB thing, it is a Jupyter notebook. So you have to understand that, and you can run your PYNB extension program either in Jupyter notebook, and you can also run it in Google Colab. Okay, you can do whatever you want. Google Research Colab, I like it very much because you can share your code in real time. It works like a Google Drive, so it is the best. But I prefer Google, not Google, but Visual Studio Code. I like it very much because I can do my calculation in the local machine, and I think I can also sync it to the cloud. I have not done that, but I think it is doable. Okay, so on the right side, I don't need that. On the left side, I have the Jupyter notebook. There is no left side now, just the one side. So what should we do now? See,
Sir, if we have Jupyter notebook, can we, without Linux, can we use?
Without Linux, yeah, you don't need Linux for that. You don't need Linux for that.
Like for research right now, is it okay or not?
It is okay. You don't need Linux for to run Jupyter notebook. You just need to install Anaconda, and in Anaconda there is something called Jupyter notebook that you have to install, and it will open. You can open it in your web browser like a local host, and it is more or less similar interface, right? You can just write it. You can execute over your codes cell by cell. So there is a difference between PY and IPYNB, right? As I told you, IPYNB is Jupyter notebook. You can use it in Jupyter notebook, or you can use it in Google Research Colab. But the program I sent you yesterday, okay, let me just run it. Where was that? Did I save it here? Yes, some numbers. Okay, so this is the program. This is the pure Python script .py, right? So how do I run it? So I need a terminal for that. I need to use some sort of mechanism where I can run, where I can compile this code. So for that I need to go to my terminal, because I have installed my compiler there. So your terminal could be anything. I am using ZSH, which is a default terminal in Mac. You can use WSL. WSL can be plugged in Visual Studio Code. You cannot plug Cywin. You have to use terminal somewhere else. I mean, you cannot plug it, you cannot embed it here. You can just put your terminal Cywin here, and you can run the calculation, you can run your code. But in this case, when you are talking about Mac or Linux, you can easily run that side by side. Okay, now this code on the left side, I can see this is a code for sum, and how can I run it? One way is the Visual Studio Code provides me this button, so I can just click this button, and if I click this button, it runs it on the right side in the terminal and it is asking for the number, let us say 1, second number is 2 and the sum of number is 3.0. So it executed that program by just clicking this button. Okay, so I can also run this. I think I have Python 3. So how can I run this? I will write Python sum. Let me see if I am in the same directory. M.R.P.D. Where is this located? So it is inside Python. Okay, cd Python, and then I can write Python 3 sum numbers py. Okay, so when I do that, I am basically whatever I have written here. So when I press this button, it also execute the same thing, right? So I get this number 2, 3, 4. Okay, 2 to 4. The sum is 4. So you can run your Python script by using this. If you have Python version 3, then you have to put 3 here. Otherwise, you can just write Python. I hope you all have Python 3. Okay, so this is the simplest program that I gave you yesterday to test whether your compiler is working or not. Okay, but we are not gonna use that. I will occasionally use that. I think I will use .py script only for matplotlib calculation because it is tedious to work with that in Jupyter notebooks. Okay, so let's go ahead with our Python session. So I don't need a terminal for that. I can just kill it, because whenever I will run this program, this Python particular cell, I will just click it here and it will just display the output here. Okay, so it will just display the output here. So because basically it is already linked to the compiler, so you just have to press this button. So similarly in Jupyter notebook you can do that. So there is the option, you can run the code cell by cell, like this is a particular cell, then I have some markdown, then this is a particular cell. You can run cell by cell, or you can run all of these at once. Okay, so I will just clear the output so that I can start fresh. Okay, about Python data types, step by step. So I don't have to tell you what are integers, you are very smart people. So let us talk about how do I sum two integers, how do I run a program in Python. So I simply have to define a variable which is a and assign it to some value. Similarly, assign a variable b, declare a variable b, assign some value, then declare a variable sum and do some arithmetic operation. Then how do I print in Python? It is simple, print bracket whatever you want to display in the inverted quotes and comma a. Okay, if I run that, you can relate. So you can see why it is displaying all these things, because print a comma a, it is displaying the value of 10, then b is minus 4 as we declared, as we assigned, and then we have print statement here, basically it is displaying this thing comma this 6. Okay, so it is very simple. So this was the program with integers, very simple, very basic. And then we talk about floating point numbers. What are the floating point number? So it is a fancy word for decimal number. Okay, so whenever we have decimal numbers like 3.14, 2.10, 1.18, whatever, so the data types we are interested in is float. Okay, so let us say I wanted to do some mathematical calculation with float. So we have to declare a variable. We declare the variable pi, which is equal to this. Okay, and then we declared a variable temp and we assigned it to some value, then we calculated some mathematical operation. What do I have to do? I wanted to calculate the average of pi and temperature, which doesn't make any sense because these two are different quantities physically, but just for the illustration. So I wanted to calculate the average of these two numbers. So what I will do, I will add them, and brackets are very important in mathematical calculations, and I will divide it by 2. Okay, so I would like to emphasize one thing here, the BODMAS rule. Okay, any programming script, any programming language follows this BODMAS rule. like brackets will go off first, then division, then multiplication, then addition, then subtraction. Okay, so you have, so therefore you have to always take care of the brackets. And then we are just printing various quantities. So when I hit there, so it printed pi because of this line, and it printed temperature because of this line, and it printed the average because of this line. So it calculated everything, and it is displaying in float. Why it is displaying it float? Because it automatically detected that whatever input we have provided is in float data type. Okay, now strings. Strings are used to store text. So now we are not talking about numerics, we are talking about text. So you can define a string using single or double quotes. You can put in double quotes or single quote, it doesn't matter. And you can also combine them, you can concatenate them. So concatenate is the this thing that we are doing here. So how do we define a string? How do we declare a assign a variable with some string? So we defined a variable, okay, and then we assigned it to some string, let us say Raj, and I put last name, again a variable I assigned to some data, I assigned it to some value which is a string Kumar. So it is inside the brackets. That's how Python understand, not bracket but commas, quotes. That's how the Python understand it is a string. Okay, and now I want to do some arithmetic operation with that. It is not a numerical arithmetic operation but with strings. So I defined a new variable and I put first name and I put last name. So these are strings, and I wanted to put a space in that. So how do I put a space in that? I do inverted quotes. Okay, I place a quote and I put a space there, and now I wanted to see what happened, what is exactly this operation doing. So I hit this button. Okay, now it is displaying it as like full name is Raj space Kumar. What if I delete the space? Now there is no space. So basically it concatenated it. Okay, so you basically concatenated two different strings. Now they are combined. Okay, so far so good. Then we have boolean data type. So boolean represent logical values. You know, computer are based on binary operations. So binary language 1 or 0. So these data types are very important. So you want to compare something, you want to put some logical conditioning in your computer, then this data type is very useful. So they are used in condition, they are used in comparison, they are used in logical operations. For example, I declare a data type is underscore summer. Okay, I also wanted to emphasize one more thing. See, this underscore, you have to be very careful about when you are declaring your data type. It should be a meaningful name, otherwise it will create problem whenever you are writing a huge code, right? You will try to figure out, oh, what is the meaning of this data type, because you cannot remember everything. So whenever you assign a data type, it should be a meaningful name, it should have a meaningful name, and if it has two words, put the underscore so that you can differentiate between them. Now coming back to our point, is underscore summer is a data type variable, and we assign to a data type true, and then similarly we assigned a variable to false. Okay, now I wanted to test something, I wanted to print some statements here. So I do run. Okay, so I wanted to print is it summer. Yeah, what is the value of is summer? Since I put is summer here, it will just retrieve the value we have assigned. So it will just display true. And then is it raining? No, because I put false here, so it is false. Now this is very interesting. So print go outside. You want to go outside, but when is summer and not is raining. Okay, what does that mean? So is summer is true. When is summer is true, you will go outside obviously, but when it is not raining, you will go outside. So there are two operations acting here, one is and one is not. Okay, let us divide it step by step. When I am just writing it like that, what will be the output? Can anyone tell whether it will be true or false? According to the program, I should go outside if there is a summer and if it is raining. No, it is not right, because if it is raining I should not go outside. If I run this program, it will give me false. Why? Because there is an AND operation here. So what does AND operation does? It is so you know how this boolean works: 1 0 0 0 1 0 1 1 1 0 0 0, right? So in the logical operations, if the two values and we have a AND operation in that, and they both are, one is true and other is false, it will give me false. But if I put here OR, then what will happen? If either of it is true, it will just display true, okay, whatever the first value is. And then if I put and not, that means if summer is there, if summer is true and the raining is not true, that means it is not raining, then I should go outside, okay, true. So this is a simple minimal example of how to use boolean, and it will be very helpful for you. Let me tell you, whenever you will be doing some tedious calculation, this data type will help you a lot. Maybe you wanted to, whenever you are doing matplotlib, there are two options. One, you can see your final output in interactive window, or either you can use you can save it as a PDF. So this logical operation will help you there. What do you want to do? Okay, next, lists. Lists are just like an arrays. So lists are ordered mutable collection of items. So they are ordered. This is the first thing you have to remember. So there is always an order like 1 2 3, and a list can be of number, it can be of strings, it doesn't matter, okay. So this is a list example of an array or list. I will say list in Python. And then we have three quantities inside list. We have three quantities. So the indexes are very important here. So what is the index, corresponding index to this list? For example, what is the index? So we have basically three inputs here, 1 2 3, but in Python the index starts from 0. So basically this is fruit 0, this is fruit 1, this is fruit 2, this is 0 1 2. You have to remember that. It is different for other programming languages. Okay, so we declared a list which is fruit, which has three quantities, which has three values, and now I want to just print it. When I printed it, I printed fruits. That means whatever list I have in the fruit, it just display that. So it just displayed that. Now how can you add a value to the list? If I want to add a value, add a string or a number depending upon the previous list, how can I add it? So you have to use the append option. Okay, so by using this thing, fruits dot append, like this is the list and I am using this feature. So whenever I am using some feature, I will write dot and then append. What do I want to append? What do I want to add? I want to add fourth fruit, which is orange. So what it will do, it will add orange here. So I am writing it manually, but it will do orange here. So I will just run it again, and you can see after adding orange, if I execute the print statement, now my array or list is modified and we have the fourth item here. Okay, so this is what we call list. Lists are very important. It will be helpful in your coding, in your whenever you will doing matplotlib. So it will really help you a lot. Then we have tuple. So tuples are ordered but immutable collections. They are like list but not exactly list. So they can also store numerics, they can also store the strings. Okay, so for example, define a tuple. So this is a tuple. So what is the difference between, it has square brackets and it has round brackets. So this is the difference. Okay, so if I run it, I will see. So you can just mute it. So how do I mute it? See, I did something here. So there is a shortcut. What is the shortcut? In VS Studio Code, shortcut is command for Mac actually, command plus backslash. Okay, so this is the shortcut which I can use to mute or unmute my code. Okay, I will put another hash here so that it only mutes the first part. Okay, so this is very useful, this will be very useful. Now otherwise how you can mute, you can manually go and you can just type hash here, and this is not right. I want to be efficient, I want to be fast. So what I can do is I select the line and I do this, and I can also do with the multiple lines. I can select and I can do this and that. Okay, this is easy. So for Windows it should be similar, I guess. Control plus L plus backslash. I'm not sure because I don't use Windows. Okay, so we defined a tuple and we just printed it, right? Now I told you they are immutable. What is the difference between list and tuple then? Okay, let's do that. So I defined a tuple here, I don't need this tuple now, and I try to modify the first element. Okay, so what is the first element? I told you in Python the indexing starts from 0. It is like 0, 1, 2 like that. So since we are two values here, it is 0 and 1. So I want to change the first item here. How do I try it? I assigned a new value to my variable at index 0, which is 15. Okay, if I do that, oh, there is an error. What does it say? Tuple object doesn't support item assignment, right? It doesn't support item assignment. In tuples you cannot change, they are immutable. So this will raise an error. So what I will do, I will just comment it out. I cannot do that. So tuples are useful when you don't want to mute when you don't want to change the entries, but you can do these things in Python list. You can do that. For example, if you have certain list, okay, and later on you decided, oh, I don't want apple to be my first element, I want something else, so you can just do it. Okay, so you can, I will give you this as an assignment task, so you can just do it. Okay, now I rerun this, it is working, fantastic. Okay, so the last but not the least is dictionary data type, and dictionary stores data as key value pairs. It is very important because it has some one-to-one connection. Let me tell you how. So I defined a dictionary data type, a variable with dictionary data type. How do Python know it is a dictionary? It has some syntax. So we write everything in the curly brackets, and within that curly brackets we write a key, then colon, and then the corresponding key value, comma, then the next key value, comma, then next key value, comma. Okay, so you can either store the string as a key value, you can also store numerics, number. Okay, so let us print that. So you can see when I print that, person info is comma person. Okay, so it printed the whole dictionary here. Okay, because I printed the person, sorry. And then if I wanted to know about only particular key value corresponding to some key, then what I will do, print name, or I can write anything here which is meaningful, comma, the dictionary and the key. The key is name, and what Python will do, it will go in person dictionary, then it will look for the key name, and then it will display the corresponding key value. Okay, so this is called dictionary, and it is also very helpful when you want to assign some data type corresponding, one-to-one correspondence. So it is very useful. So this is all about, like, this was a small fresh up about Python, very simple course, just to give you some idea, just to give you some motivation how things work in Python. It sounds very simple, but they will be very useful in future. So this was about data type. I have one more notebook where I will discuss some advanced concept, not very advanced but some advanced concept. But before that I just wanted to interact with you, like if you have some question so far, if you have any questions so far. If you don't have it, don't forget to give thumbs up. Okay, if you have it, you can write in the chat. Okay, fantastic guys. Now the last part of this session from my side is basics of Python programming. Okay, so what? So this is pure Python. I have not used any external libraries. When we will use NumPy and pandas, thing will get more interesting, right? Then you have more power in Python. So we will talk about that in next week. So let us start with simple things again. So how can I print in Python? I told you, you are master now. Then we have variables and data type. We already discussed that. We have integer, float, string, boolean, blah blah blah. Then this is something new which I wanted to talk about. Sometimes you don't want to define, you want to declare your values here, like you don't want to assign some values to the variable inside the code, but you want some user to give you that value in the terminal itself or somewhere else, right? So what I will do, like as I showed you in this example, so if I run this, so it is asking me about some numbers. So I put 2, I put 3, and the sum is 5. How do I do that? So I do that by using this function, this syntax, that the data type, the brackets, and then I will use this input function, and whatever I wanted to display, I will display it here. Okay, let's learn this here. So what I did is I declared a variable and equal, after equality sign I put input and enter your name. Okay, it automatically detects it is a string. I hope it automatically detects. Let us test that, because we have not defined the data type. Okay, if I do that, if I run this code and it has started and it is running for eternity, but okay, I will stop and I will run it again. How do I stop it? Come on, interrupt. Okay, I will just delete now. Okay, I will just put the number here. So enter your name. So it is the prompt which is displaying on the top of my VS Code. What I can do here, it is asking me for a name. Enter your name. Why it is asking? Because I put it here. So enter your name is like Rajesh. Okay, I put Rajesh, and there is a key error. Why? Interrupted by user, because now it executed the command Rajesh. Okay, so it got delayed due to some reason. Okay, so when I put Rajesh there, it displayed hello Rajesh because of this statement. So it automatically detects that this is a string. Okay, let me do it again. Let me put a number here and see. Oh, it also works for number. Let me do something crazy. Let me write int here, right? If I write int here and I do that, okay, and now this time I put 33. Okay, it is working, and again this time I write Rajesh. It is throwing me an error. Why? Can anyone tell me?
Because of the data type.
Yeah, because of the data type, because I particularly told Python that this data type is integer. Okay, very good, Honor. So I will not put, if I have defined a data type, I will not put other data types. For example, I will only put 33, otherwise it will complain. So the best way to avoid that is you can just remove this. Okay, but I think you should always, whenever you are doing some scientific computing, you should define your data type carefully, so that you don't do any boo-boos. So you can put in int here. It is better to specify the data type. Okay, next. Simple arithmetic we discussed already. You run it, you just have to define the arithmetic operation and it will give you the value. Okay, this is a moduli. Okay, this is a modulus, sorry, and this is the integer division. So what is the integer division? What is the difference between division and integer division? So it will not show the float values in the integer division, it will only display the closest integer. Okay, what is next? Conditional statements. Very thought provoking. I like conditional statement. I wonder if we didn't have conditional statement in programming languages, we would have suffered. So it is very important concept. So you can organize your code, you can do multiple things. So if we have conditional statement, you can divide your code, you can arrange your code in a very nice manner, very arranged manner. Okay, so let us understand this with this cell, Python cell. So what is written inside, that we have number variable and we are asking for a number. So I put a number like, let us say 2, and it tells me that it is a positive number. How does it know? What is the workflow? So I put a number which is 2, okay, and then the if statement will check how I have defined it. So first of all, let us talk about the syntax. The syntax is if space whatever you want to check, whatever condition is there, you have to put it here. It could be a logical operation, it could be something else. And then we have this colon, this is a part of the syntax. And in Python, indentation is very important. I forgot to tell you about it. If I put this thing here, it will complain. Okay, so in Python we don't use brackets like in C++. In C++, the same thing will be done in some sort of like this manner, so that if condition knows where it has to look, which particular print statement belong to which if condition. This is how we do in C++, but in Python, indentations are the criteria, indentation is the thing which guides the Python compiler, that which print statement belong to which if condition. Okay, so indentations are very important, and it also helps you to organize the code. So whenever you want to retrieve your code, you want to understand it, if it is properly indented. I mean, in Python you have no other way, but in C++ or Fortran, if it is properly indented, then it is very good, you can retrieve it easily. But in Python it is by default. So you have to take care of the indentation, and it is always one tab. Okay, so I put tab, so this is tab, not this, but this. Okay, tab for indentation. Okay, okay, let me just complete what I am saying. I just wanted to say something else. Okay, so we have if statement. The first if statement checks if numeric num, whatever is stored in num, is greater than 0. So I put 2, that's why it displayed the positive number, right? So I put 2, that's why it displayed the positive number, because what happened, the code starts from the beginning. The workflow is from top to bottom. Okay, it learns like what is 2, then it executes from top to bottom. Now let us give some other value. So what is the other condition? If, then we have else if. Else if in C++ or Fortran we exactly write ELSE if, but in Python we can just, it is a written in a compact manner, which is elif, which means else if, and we defined our condition that if num is equal to 0, then print 0. So there is a very common mistake that people write it like that, num is equal to 0, which is not good, because this is an assignment operator. So we are assigning some value, we are comparing, if that matches, then print 0. So one equality sign will complain. Okay, now I put 0. Okay, when I put 0, it printed that. Why? Because it got the value here from 0, which was stored in this. num variable, and then the Python executed this line. Okay, it was not satisfied, the condition was not satisfied, then it went to the other line and it was satisfied, the program stopped here and it displayed the value. Now let us do something else. Okay, let us do -2. If I do -2, then it says okay, it is a negative number, but we particularly did not define it is a negative number or not. I didn't say that okay, check if it is a negative number. I didn't write it like that. If it is num less than 0, it will also work, right? If I put -2, it will also work with this is a negative number. But why it didn't work? Why it also worked with the else? Because else mean anything which is not this, any condition which is not this. Okay, but this because of this integer it is restricted, but if we didn't have integer, we could have put string. Now if I put string, it will complain, otherwise it is not. If I put -3.14, it will complain. Why? Because I have particularly said it is an integer. Okay, so far so good. Okay, 1. So this was about conditional statement else if, and you can do wonders with that. And now we have loops. Loops are also very important in any programming language. Why? Because you don't want to write each and every line again and again. If you want to print some number like 1 2 3 4 5 6, I don't want to do that print 1, print 2, print 3, print 4, print 5. This doesn't sound logical to me. This doesn't sound optimized to me. What we can do, we can use for loops. So how we define for loops in Python? It is very simple. Okay, so here we are using range function. So range function tells me, so you can see this is a tuple 1 to 6. This is a range function, sorry. It starts from 1 and it ends at 6. So it has 5 values, 1 2 3 4 5. So the last number doesn't count whenever we are writing a range function. So what it is doing is, for I in range, for each I in range, print that. So how the code will execute, that it will go through this statement for all the ranges we have provided. For example, if I do 4 here, it will provide 1 2 3 because the last number doesn't count in range function. So range is one option. You can use line space and all those things we will learn more about when we do the use cases. So for the time being, due to the indentation, okay, let me remove the indentation, and it is complaining. Why? Because it doesn't know what is I. Okay, because I is the variable which is defined in the for loop. So I have to indent it so that the compiler knows that the print statement belongs to for loop. So for I in range 1 to 4, that means it will execute this print statement one by one according to the for loop, like 1 2 3 4. It is one case. And now we have while loop. So while loop is kind of for loop but different. What happens in while loop, like we have some sort of condition. Okay, for example, here I declared my variable and I initialized it. What do I mean by initialization? I put some random value. I wanted to initialize with 0, I put it 0, and I put a condition that while count is less than 5, like when this is less than 5, you print this and add one number to the count every time it executes. Okay, this is similar to for loop but a bit different. So in for loop we are not defining any condition, we are providing the range here. But in while loop we are defining a condition that do all the calculations until you satisfy this condition. So let us remove this plus and see. If I remove this plus, it will keep running for eternity. Okay, I think okay, it stopped. Luckily it stopped. Why it runs for eternity? Because this condition will never met, because I am not changing my count. I am not changing my count. The count is always 1. So count is the key, count is the variable that is in this condition, and it is the Python compiler is checking for the value of count. If it is not satisfying this condition, it will run for eternity. Okay, how do I stop it? I have to make my count running. So one option is I do count plus 1. Okay, so if I do that, I will see every time it runs, it adds one value to the previous value, which is the previous count. It started with 0, 0, 0, 0, okay, 0, and then it started with 1, then it added to 0, it's 1, and then the previous count modifies to 1, and then I added 1 again, it is 2, then the previous count is 2, then I added 1 more, 2 plus 1 3, 3 plus 1 4. That's how it goes. Okay, and this is one way to write that. Okay, one way, this is one way to write that, but we want to be efficient, right? We don't want to write something extra. We are lazy people, so we will just write it like this. So in Python you can do some mischiefs, so it is better to write like this. It is understood that this is what does that mean is count is equal to count plus 1. Okay, this is doing the same operation. So you can also do minus here, you can also do star here, you can also do this here. Okay, it is up to you. Okay, so what do we have now? We have functions. Functions are very, very important. They are user defined, but they are the specific property that you are gonna use again and again. Why we need the function? So in the code, whenever you're doing some stuff, you have to do a lot of repetition, right? Like for example, you want to calculate the average of something and you always provide two numbers. You don't want to write the codes again and again for average. Like I don't want to repeat this line again and again and again. I don't want to do that. Instead, what I can do, I can define a function, I can put that thing in the function and I can execute that. Okay, that sounds a bit tedious, but let us do that. So let us say I wanted to print this thing, print hello name on my screen. Okay, if I run that, obviously it will print hello Raj. Why did it print hello Raj? Because what did I do basically? Let us go through the workflow. So this is the definition of a function. How do we define a function or a method? def space the name of the function, which can be anything you want, and then the variables in the function you are interested in the bracket, and then colon. And again, you need to have an indentation here so that the compilers know that what is inside the function, and whatever you want to write, you can write here. So this is the variable. Okay, and now this is the definition of function. That's it. It's a very minimal function, simple function, and now I want to call that function. I want to execute that function. How do I do it? I write my function, okay, and then I put a key in the function or a value in the function or an argument to the function. So I put a string argument in the function. So when I execute this line, when the Python execute this line, what it will does, it will put Raj instead of name, and that name will go to this point and it will print this. Okay, that's how it works. Okay, let's do something else. I will do print, I will do 44. Let us say if it works. Okay, it simply wrote 44 because I just provided an argument and it repeated itself. Okay, now I wanted to do Raj, and okay, it suggested some Indian names. It is okay, and then what I want to do, if I wanted to print some different names, like, so let us say I wanted to print some four different names. So what I can do is I can write it here. Hello Raj, not Raj, let me think about some participant's name. Hello Yadav, hello I think Khushi, and then we have Honor. Okay, if I do that and I run my code, it will display hello Raj because of this thing here. Then it is displaying Yadav, Khushi, honor. Okay, this is one way to write the statements, print statements. Okay, I don't want to do that. I have a function for that. What I will do, I will call my functions several times. Okay, it suggested me in the convert. Okay, I did that and there is a bracket missing. See guys, this is also very important. Whenever there is some sort of line, this underline like red, it has some meaning. So you have to check like there are any brackets of are we following the syntax properly or not. Okay, so this is how I used my function, and if I click if I run my program, then it run the same thing. So instead of writing print statement one by one for each of the line, I just created a function. I just replaced the argument and it printed for me. See, it seems very easy, but if we have like 1000 lines in the function, then it will be very useful. Okay, I will show you some of the example right now. Just display it. So I guess this is okay. You will be doing all those stuff. You might have noticed, like if I do that, my compiler is suggesting me something. Okay, if I do some space here, some enter, it is suggesting me something. Okay, I write, it is suggesting me something. I did write, it is suggesting me something. How does it know? Actually, I have installed some AI help for me. Okay, so it helps me, it understands my code, whatever I am trying to think, and it gives me suggestion. The name of that extension is Windsurf. You can also use that, and if you are a student, you can use GitHub Copilot. If you have a student ID, you can use it for free. So that gives you suggestion, but I will not recommend you right now because you are beginner. If you are a beginner, then don't depend on AI. Do everything on yourself first. Learn it, and when you are like intermediate, then started using AI for the help. Okay, so GitHub Copilot is awesome, very good. Okay, so that's all from my presentation today. But before going to you guys, I just wanted to show you something. Okay, so let me just go to my research. Okay, what else? What do I want you to show? Maybe this, maybe this, maybe this. Okay, so I can run my terminal, not terminal, but VS Studio Code on this particular folder location. How? So I have to write code, then I have to write this dot, which means the current directory. If I do that, I enter, my VS Code will open in that directory. Okay, this is very useful. Okay, so now let me show you the one use case of function. Just wanted to show you. I will not run. Well, I can do this. Okay, so this is a line of this is some my code, and this is a function I have defined. Okay, so this is a function and this is the name of the function, and these are the various arguments that I have put that I will be using in the function itself. This is a plotting function, so I have the plots, I have all the list. Okay, let me just give you some ideas here. So this is a plotting thing which I will tell you later, plotting theme, and this is a list. This is a list, name colors, it have different color. This is a list of line styles, and then we have a list again. Okay, we have a list, we have a list, we have a list. Then we have for loop within for loop, like a nested thing, and then again for loop. You don't have to worry about anything. If you are seeing some weird stuff, we will learn it step by step. So what I want to show you, this is a function which is indented. Okay, this is indented, all the function, and I want to run it. So if I have to run it, I can access it somewhere down, right? So if my, what was the case, let us say this was the function, this doesn't matter. So how can I run it? I basically I am calling it here. So if I write something like that, and it basically runs that particular function. So I can change my arguments here, right? If I change my arguments here, I don't have to change particular argument inside the function, I can just change it here. So this is the power of the function. So we will talk about that extensively in the coming sessions, right? So I guess so far so good. That was all about my today's presentation, a short introduction about Python, like various data types and like different properties such as functions, for loop, conditional loops, conditional statements, logical operation, and all those things. One thing I would like to emphasize, we are already 10:30. See, I am not a computer scientist. I am a computer physicist. So I do not bother learning a language from the scratch like computer scientists do. They do know everything like how a language works. I am more interested in how can I use my language whatever I wanted to do. If I want to code, if I want to do some numerical calculations in physics, I just want to do that. I don't care about this central idea of computer. You should, if you are interested, you can do, but let's not spend time on that. If you are free, you can do that. But here in this internship, because we have a very less time, we will just focus on the use cases, and we will just focus on learning by doing. So that is the best way to learn. If you if you interact with your terminal, if you interact with your Python, there will be errors in the terminal, then you will be going back and forth, and you will learn that way. You don't have to start with a book and learn the lesson one by one. It will take a lot of time. So that is what I wanted to tell you. Now I open this session for question and answers. Okay, you don't have any questions. That is good. That means things are going well. So if you want to say something, now is the time. Okay, no, I'm not able to fill the attendance form. Okay, why? Only 4 people have filled the attendance form today so far. Why is that? The form,
It's not taking new responses.
sorry?
It's not taking new response. People who filled yesterday cannot fill today.
Really? Oh, because I have limited to 1 response. Got it. Thank you for your insight. I think it should work now. Can anyone try again and confirm? Actually, I don't want to give you a different Google form every day. That's why.
It's working.
It's working fantastic. Okay, thank you guys. Okay, you can put your attendance meanwhile, and if you have any question, let me know. Then today we are gonna do the breakout session. Let me just open my schedule. Okay. So what do we have today? So we have today basics of programming in Python, data types, writing simple program. We did that. Okay. Now I will give you some assignments later today, maybe in 1-2 hours. Then you guys can practice. But right now I will just deploy my Jupyter notebooks in the Google Drive folder. So you can copy and paste, and you can play with these programs. You can edit it. You can use your ideas in that Jupyter notebook. Try to play with it. Change one data type to another, add some extra print statements. Use your imagination, use your creativity, and interact with the terminal, interact with the Python notebook. So then we have a discussion and breakout session. We will continue with that. So let me just put upload. Where was that? Summer internship deliverables. So I'm gonna put in Python. Okay, so research M.R.P.D, Python, then I have these two Jupyter notebook, and I am also deploying this. Okay, so guys, we can take 5 minutes break now. So I will send you, but before that, before leaving, one thing. So we are 13 participants here, so we can divide our group 4 participants each. And okay, I will do it somehow. I will send you 3 Google Meet links. So I will divide you randomly, and then you guys will talk to each other, right? You will show your Cywin Linux progress. You will show, each of you will show to each other, and I will be randomly visiting those discussion sessions. And if you have any query, we will discuss that. Sounds good? Give it a thumbs up, guys. I mean, this is about discussion session. It is the way you are going to learn. Okay, very good, very good. Okay, so I am stopping this, and the discussion sessions will not be recorded. I don't think there is a recording needed. So let me just stop presenting and stop.